Do I have a story for you guys? So if you start hosting your flat as an Airbnb, it has many benefits. You can earn quite a little bit of cash on the side. You can also meet new people, some interesting people, some quirky people, some people you might actually later become friends with. And you get to know about their country and what it's like to live wherever it is that they're coming from, which is pretty interesting. I've heard some nice stories actually, like Denmark's a go-to place to visit now. But also you will meet some people who are quirky in a different way, maybe a little bit creepy even. Depends how you view the situation. Recently where I live there was rugby season, and that meant that plenty of people would come to crash somewhere for the night and go and watch rugby the next day. So I've had a couple bookings coming one right after the other, which I was so grateful for. But also it meant that I would have a visit from Bob. Let's call him Bob. Now Bob was a peculiar specimen, which is not a problem in itself because I'm a peculiar specimen myself. And we all come from different places with different backgrounds, different everythings. But Bob did not know the line between being friendly to your host and remembering that this is your host. This is not a dating profile. And the thing with Bob was that when he booked the place, he would ask me not exactly personal questions, but questions about me as a human being, like what my religion is and whether I'm from a specific place. If you ask me, those questions have no place, no room for you as an Airbnb guest. I think many people will agree with me on that one, but quirkiness aside, I have a knife. So I let him stay. And he would just stay just one night. I was like, it was fucking one night. What can happen in one night? During that stay, when Bob has freshly arrived and I went to greet him outside my door, he had this expression on his face, this twinkle in his eye, as if he has seen his best friend that he hasn't seen in a couple years. I am not his best friend. Things go fine. He arrives, leaves his bags, I show him where, what, when, why, and then he leaves for his rugby match. But the way he left was it had for the lack of better description, it had goodbye best friend or goodbye person who is like really fucking close to me. I don't want to use specific words because so while he was gone, I would go on with my day, have some food, watch a little bit of Netflix while I still can before my living room gets occupied by a stranger I've never met. And finally, Bob returns from his rugby match. So when he returns, I greet him and say, hey, how are things? Did you enjoy your match? Just the regular, I'm being a friendly host questions. At least I think they were just basically general friendly host questions. Maybe it didn't seem that way to Bob, because Bob is a different kind of a specimen. But yeah, so he would go to his room, prepare some food for himself or whatever, and then he calls for me and he asks me whether I've had dinner already. I said, yeah, I've had my dinner. That's like, why are you asking me if I've had my dinner already when you're sitting down to eat? But when I've said, yeah, I already had my dinner, he kind of had this disappointed look in his face, as if he was hoping for a dinner for two, which I'm very sorry, Bob, it's not gonna happen. So then, since I so graciously declined his pseudo-offer of dinner, he just said, well, if you want to watch a movie, you can join in. I'm trying to create this version in my head where it's just a friendly suggestion, but this is my home. You don't have to invite me for shit. If I want something, I will just go and fucking get it. I also forgot to mention a part that when he returned home from rugby, he FaceTimed me with a video and everything to ask me what floor I live on. Now, the question itself is not a problem, like, fair enough, you forgot which floor it is. But why did you fucking FaceTime me with a video to see these eye bags? There's no fucking need. You could have just texted me the question. But when I did pick up the FaceTime call, first of all, I didn't leave my whole face in because, like, what the shit? It was just kind of like from this point on and upwards. So my expression would be a little bit more difficult to read. And when he has seen my gracious half face on his video call, he just had this blissful smile on, this like, oh, I've missed you for so long. Where have you been my whole life? In a nut house! So if you thought that this was the weirdest part of his day, no, it gets better. So evening comes, he keeps on trying to start some general conversation thing, basically to make me, like, stay around for as long as conversation goes. I don't fucking know. He goes to bed, leaves his door wide fucking open, which, I mean, like, what? Alright, you have your fucking preferences, but if you ask me, that's a little bit odd to leave the door completely fucking open, like, wide fucking open, like, take the door off its hinges open, in a home where somebody else lives, a person you've never fucking met. I could be a fucking serial killer for all he knows. But we'll skip that. We'll pretend that the door doesn't fucking matter. So I go to bed as well, and at 6 in the morning, his alarm goes off, he wakes up, I pretend to be fucking asleep because I just want this human being out of my home. And I also have 2 cats, so I leave my door a teensy tiny bit open, just enough for the skinny feline body to pass through the door in case they want to come in and out, because I do that all the fucking time. And Bob made me feel like I need a cat door and a chain lock on my door from this point on, because Bob walks into my room to pour himself some water. I repeat, Bob walks into a room of a single white female to pour himself water from my water filter. So I obviously, like, look up, like, what the actual shit, and he's like super casual about it, like there's nothing fucking weird about that. He just go, oh, I'm just pouring myself some water. It's like, moving on. And in case you're wondering, Bob, that is not acceptable. That is not fine. We are 2 strangers coexisting. Alright, we are not friends. But I guess it doesn't stop Bob. Definitely doesn't stop him. So, well, I watch him make sure that he leaves my private chambers. And he does, and he goes about just getting ready to fuck the right fuck off of my house. But But that's not the end of it. He comes back in. He comes back into a sleeping person's room to ask, "Can I take your charger? Can I take your charger? Can I do that?" The night before that, I pointed out the wireless charger that I have. I told him, just put your phone on this thing, it'll charge overnight. Here's a charging wire in case that doesn't work. He didn't use the wireless charger. I don't know if he actually like fucking charged his phone even with the wire, because he did plug the wire in. His phone did do the little blink thing to inform him, "Yes, human, I am indeed charging." And now he waltzes in my room to ask me, a sleeping person, if he can take my charger with him. No, Bob, you cannot take my charger with you. I know you want a souvenir, but no, it's my charger. And that's what I had to explain to him twice. Say, "No, Bob, this is my charger. I need it, because I also have a phone that you like to FaceTime me on, apparently." And I did tell him, "You can buy a charger, but you're not taking mine." But another thing that I should point out is that the night before, when he asked if he can use my Wi-Fi, he would text me on WhatsApp. So he can text me at 7 p.m. to ask me a question. But he can't text me at 6 in the morning to ask, "Can I have some water? Can I take your charger?" Which, the charger would be no, but for water, yeah, fucking help yourself. But not when I'm fucking asleep, Bob! Fucking Bob. So finally, Bob gets his shit together and packs his shit, and he must say goodbye to a sleeping person. He sees I am in bed with my 2 cats, enjoying an intimate cuddle between a human and 2 felines and 2 pussies. But still, he has to wave me goodbye and say, "Goodbye. I'm asleep, Bob." So I don't know which one was weirder, Bob or the guest who doesn't know that you need to flush after taking a shit. Disgusting. Hopefully this little story of Bob was very entertaining to you. It was not very entertaining to me. I wanted him gone the whole fucking night that he stayed at my place. But I had to go through this, and you didn't. I have trauma from this, and you have a fun story. Pigeons died, my new hobby.